Looking to take your financial knowledge to the next level? You're in the right place. Welcome to Ask Ralph, offering accounting, technical, and financial advice. Whether you're looking to save taxes or improve your business, he's got you covered. Here's your host of Ask Ralph, Ralph Eastup Jr.
Welcome back to the Ask Ralph Show. Today we're going to talk about 10 financial resolutions for 2018. Now, it's said that 45% of Americans decide to make New Year's resolutions each January. And Ben Franklin has a great quote in this article I have here from Wallet Hub. And it said, Ben Franklin always advised, be always at war with your vices, at peace with your neighbors, and let each New Year's find you a better man. Well, I think that's something we can all ascribe to. The sad part of this is it's estimated that only 10% of resolution makers actually follow through and meet their goals. So let's talk about 10 financial goals for 2018 that we really feel like you can achieve. Number 1, sign up for credit monitoring. Now, this is really important these days. There's so many opportunities for identity theft. And with this Equifax debacle, and we'll call it that, a lot of people got free credit monitoring. I think my wife and I both have free credit monitoring because of this Equifax thing. But it's something you should really consider signing up for, and it's not expensive. The benefit to it is you don't have to wait until you get your credit report to find out if there's something going on with your credit. You receive an instant notification whenever anything happens to your credit report. And the more quickly you can get that information, the more quickly you can crack down on fraud. Number 2, pay bills right after payday. I love this idea. Take care of monthly obligations before letting yourself indulge in any luxury expenses is a helpful budgeting strategy. I think that's fantastic. If you spend your money on the things that you have to pay for right away at payday, whatever you have left over is your discretionary money. It also avoids you ever having a late payment reported on your credit bureaus. And that becomes a snowball effect because as soon as your credit's affected, then the cost of buying gets increased. Therefore, you've got more money going out the door. Number 3, and this is a great goal, repay 20% of your credit card debt. It's estimated that at the close of 2017, there will be $1 trillion in outstanding balances on credit cards. And the problem is that is not cheap debt. That's expensive debt. And it just keeps rolling over and rolling over. And you'd be surprised how many of my clients, they'll tell me, Ralph, I just make the minimum payments. And I say, okay, it's going to take you 20 years to pay off that credit card. So that stereo system you had to have, or that new, whatever it is, for your house, it's going to cost you 10 times what you paid for it. You need to sit down and put together a budget and figure out how to get these credit cards paid down. It's said that the average household in the U.S. has $8,548 of debt by the end of 2017. You got to work on this. Number 3, use different credit cards for everyday purchases and debt. This is something they call this article the island approach, using different accounts to serve different financial needs, as if they're a chain of islands. And I think this is a great idea. The most basic example is to use a rewards card for everyday purchases and a 0% card for things you're going to carry a balance on month to month. Well, that makes perfect sense. Your main transactional account, use the best rewards card you can find. And the one you're going to carry a balance on, use the lowest interest rate. Number 5, add 1 month of pay to your emergency fund. And this is a scary statistic. When I read this, I was very upset. Roughly 54% of Americans do not have a rainy day fund, according to the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. This is like people who don't have insurance on their homes. And this is something you got to have. I mean, it's very important, but you got to set this aside. One of the things that this person recommends, and I have to agree, is to build a fund of 12 to 18 months of take-home income. And you're going to me, Ralph, that is never going to happen. There's no way I can do that. Well, if you have that type of thought process, that's true. You're never going to do it. But if you can set aside a little bit each month, eventually you're going to build up to that point where you're going to have that rainy day fund, and when the hot water heater blows up, you're not going to look for a credit card to put it on. You're not borrowing money from your mom or your aunt or your sister trying to figure out how to pay for something. Number 6, improve your credit score by 20 points. And I thought this was amazing. Less than 1% of people have the highest credit score possible, which in this particular model they're talking about is 850. So less than 1%. Fewer than 1 in 6 have a perfect credit score, which they consider 800 or above. And the average credit score is 679. So everybody, for the most part, could improve their credit score. The best way to do that, besides monitoring it and see what's going on, is to improve your credit is to maintain an open credit card account that is in good standing. That doesn't mean it's maxed out and that you're paying the minimum amount every month. One of the main components to credit scoring, I have some experience in this when I worked in the credit industry, is keeping your balances below 50% of available credit. So if you have a $1,000 credit card, you never want that balance to be above $500 because that will absolutely ding your credit score. Number 7, get an A in wallet literacy. What am I talking about here? 43% of Americans grade their financial know-how at a C or below, according to the National Foundation for Credit Counseling. Understand what makes up your credit report. Understand your budget. Understand the things that are going on in your financial life. When I have clients come in, they talk about how they're having a hard time making ends meet. The first thing I ask them is, where is your money going? Oh, I don't know. You've got to know this. You've got to use something to keep track of this. Software is great, but keep track on where every single dollar goes. Number 8, focus on physical health. There is definitely a clear connection between physical, emotional, and financial health. The average person spends $4,612 on healthcare each year. And it's true that people who get regular exercise tend to have better credit scores. What does this mean? It underscores the importance of getting your financial house in order, as well as exercising regularly and engaging in other healthy practices aimed at reducing your healthcare costs. So that's something you can focus in on. That's a goal that you can achieve. Number 9, make a realistic budget and stick to it. I don't think many people do that. I really don't. I don't see that. I don't see it in my practice. You need to keep an eye on your budget. Missed payments and credit score damage, if you don't cut back, are in your future. It requires you to rethink how you allocate your money. Look at where your money's going. Look what's coming in. Look what's going out. And number 10, and this doesn't apply to everybody, but I think it's a good point, and that is look for a better job. Is there something you can do better? And I've said this to clients as well. If you're that far back in credit card debt, get a second job. Get a third job. Sell some things. That credit card debt of $1 trillion is killing us, folks. It's something we need to work on, and you need to work on it now. If it means you got to work a little more, spend a little less, it's time to do it, because you don't want to go into your golden years with this debt, credit card debt strapped around your neck. It's just not worth it. I hope this has been helpful.
You've been listening to Ask Ralph, brought to you by Saggio Accounting Plus. Please subscribe to and rate our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a rating and review. Our podcast is produced by Carolyn Peters. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Ask Ralph Media. You can also hear me each week on 1450 WILM and on 1410 WDOV in Delaware, and on the iHeartRadio app. Submit your questions or ideas for future shows by sending an email to AskRalph@AskRalph.com.
The information contained in this episode of Ask Ralph is based on data available as of the date of its release. Saggio Accounting Plus and Ask Ralph Media Inc. is under no obligation to update this content if changes occur. Applying this information to your specific situation requires careful consideration of all facts and circumstances, and any information provided is not to be considered as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney before acting on any material covered.